Hello. So recently over the past few weeks or so, the Deceit developers have had a Q&A forum up on the Discord, and in this new blog post, they went over some of the questions that were asked. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they talked about here. So we have this picture here of a person, presumably Alex, and a concept art of one of the blood altars that's going to be in Deceit 2. In this first paragraph here, they wanted to thank all of the people who tested in the alpha program for Deceit 2. Apparently they had a total of around 3,500 people who joined, which is really good for a closed alpha. Also at the end here, they say early next year we'll be fully announcing Deceit 2 alongside store pages and wish listing. So I'm assuming that this means there's going to be a Steam page, probably in the general time frame of the first 4 months maybe, considering they said early next year. That is just speculation though. The first question that went into here is, how did you come up with Deceit? This is something that they've answered a few times along the years, but some people may not know. Their initial concept came from the classic game Mafia or Werewolf. They thought it was a fun concept and looked for a way to combine it with an action-focused multiplayer experience. It was a huge learning experience as there weren't many things to draw inspiration from, but we've been honored the way the community has embraced the game over the past 6 years. So yeah, their original idea came from Mafia, which is a pretty popular party game. Next up, they have a few questions about the tech behind Deceit 2. Things about like how ping will work, how the different servers will work, and if it will be optimized for performance. They go into a little detail here about how they're building the game in Unreal Engine 5, and the alpha tests were on Unreal 5.1. They're using fully dynamic lighting and ray tracing for high quality lighting and high settings. And as with any new technology, they're still working on fixes and optimizations based on the alpha results. And based on the alpha results that they got, they are confident in achieving good performance by launch. They'll talk more about minimum specs soon. And as for the servers, we were running from only one data center for the technical alphas, but you will certainly have multiple regions to choose from on launch. First question here. Will Deceit 2 be on Steam Deck, Geforce Now, mobile, even VR? And they're stating here that they want to have it on both Steam Deck and Geforce Now as soon as possible. They foresee having these at launch, but they can't guarantee it just yet. And they're not focused on VR, but they do plan to consider high-spec mobile devices in the future, but are not currently working on it. Next question for character voice actors. They want to know if the original ones are returning or will there be new ones. And they said they already have a new Game Master voice actor who debuted on the 5th anniversary event. They will also need the 3 new voice actors for the 3 new characters, Priya, Beck, and Jak. And as for the original characters, they will be recast as it's been a long time since they recorded the lines, and there's plenty of new things they will need to say. I mean, it makes sense. Deceit came out back 2016, 2017. It's been 5 or 6 years since they recorded their lines. And there's going to be a whole lot more stuff that the characters need to comment on in Deceit 2. And last for the text section, will there be a replay mode for Deceit 2? And they said, at present we're not developing a replay mode, though we know this is an often requested feature. It is on our radar, but we cannot confirm anything. So they're not working on it yet, but it may be a possibility. Supporting the Deceit 2 community. They had some questions about changes they might make for the community with the development of Deceit 2, specifically around toxicity of players in game and how they want to prevent or limit this. They obviously can't stop toxicity entirely. People get mad when they lose. However, they don't tolerate constant toxic behavior or behavior that crosses the line into discrimination, racism, or bullying. They've already started working on clear rules for Deceit 2 and the community, so that when the game releases, there's clear guidance on what is allowed and what is not. That won't prevent people from being toxic, but it means that when players break those rules, they will be punished for doing so. The moderation team will be expanded to help cover the anticipated expansion of the community and to help support players on both PC and console. Looking for passionate people. Moderation experience isn't necessary, but we want to see that you'll be a good influence in-game and in the community. You follow the rules, help newcomers, and are willing to give up a bit of time to support us. You can apply on the Discord. And by the way, I'll put links to the Discord and previous videos I've done on other blogs in the description and pinned comment. One question specifically asked why they did not implement blocking of players in Deceit 1. They felt that waiting a few minutes before requeuing was an effective workaround for this problem, alongside the reporting system designed to enable the community to report players who were breaking the rules. They also didn't want people blocking other players to avoid facing them for the purposes of boosting, and they know that some of the community feels that they should have implemented a blocking system. The great thing about Deceit 2 is that the lobby system will allow hosts to kick out players that they don't want to play with, and for players to set up private lobbies and only share the code with people they want to play with. So yeah, you'll be able to open your own lobby, and if you see someone that you don't like, you can just kick them out or have the host kick them out of the lobby. The Deceit 2 future. Will there be more testing after the alpha playtest program? For those of you who don't know, the alpha testing just closed a few days ago, and they are really pleased with the way that the program has went, and they've gathered a lot of useful feedback. They will be assessing all of their learnings, and then they will announce the details of further beta testing, pre-launch events, and whether these will be open or closed at the beginning of 2023. Next question is, how many maps will Deceit 2 have? Will it get DLC? Their plan is to rework some of the original Deceit 1 maps and terrors as DLC for the future. We cannot confirm how many maps or DLC Deceit 2 will end up having, but we can tell you that we have both new maps and new DLC terrors planned already, and they will be released more regularly than the Deceit 1 DLC. Next question, will Ranked be in Deceit 2? They don't have any plans to build a ranked mode in Deceit 2 as of yet, but they haven't ruled it out entirely. When they announced plans to change ranked in Deceit 1 earlier in 2022, they were also thinking ahead to Deceit 2. Will we continue to reset ranked seasons or leave it like Legacy? They have not made a decision on this, so nothing will change for now. The ranked season will be reset every month in live for the foreseeable future. They also had some questions about cosmetics and skins in Deceit 2. They are planning on combining the hair and hat categories of cosmetics into one category. There have been suggestions and questions about being able to break down skins or being able to trade skins. They have no plans at present for these features, but we're interested in exploring them. That is something that I don't think should be in the game, really. They also had questions about things like the cost of Deceit 2. They cannot answer that yet. That will be announced near the time of release, but they are committed to it being low cost. Lastly, is the Deceit 2 terror scarier than the Deceit 1 terror? And they think so, and they will be giving you a real look at the new terror in early 2023. I am excited for Deceit 2, learning more into more scary terrors, more scary atmosphere, because Deceit 1 was really lacking in that. Next up, this section about World Makers, which is the company that's making Deceit 2. Will you open new positions in the company? They will when they need to expand. They have a core group of employees and freelancers that have worked with them for years, and they hire specialists and outsource development when they need to. The next question asks James, who's the CEO of World Makers, what is his vision for the company? And he says, it's my responsibility to set the team up to build the best immersive social experiences on the market. We are grateful for our current investors who continue to support us as we look to launch Deceit 2 and grow the studio. The launch of Deceit 2 will be a huge milestone for us, and he looks forward to announcing how they intend to expand on that next year. Do they plan on making more trailers or trying to create commercials and PR in general? Absolutely. In Deceit 2, they had to focus on a huge technical shift to UE5, but they certainly will be making new trailers in 2023. They're working with a PR agency and have the internal creative lead, Tobias, who some of you will have heard in the alpha tutorial video. As a side note, that is not public yet, just those that were in the alpha would have heard that. They plan on advertising the game in a variety of ways starting early on next year. This is something that Deceit 1 never really had, or at least not for a long time of its lifespan, and that was a big problem with its growth. I'm looking forward to seeing what they plan for that. This next section talks about the future of Deceit 1, what's going to happen to it. There are no plans to shut down Deceit 1, but there's also no plans to make any significant additional updates to the game. They've learned a lot from making and working on Deceit 1 for over the past 6 years, and they're using all of that experience to develop Deceit 2. They're going to continue to log any new bugs they find, and look to the legacy game for ideas to bring forward, but their priority is Deceit 2. This next question is talking about the inspiration behind the Masquerade cosmetics. And they say here that the Masquerade event, which was the last event in Deceit 1, was designed to be the bridge between Deceit 1 and Deceit 2, introducing the idea of the Truth Seekers, 9 individuals, strangers to each other but working together for one cause. Those are the 9 characters that we're going to get to play in Deceit 2, and if you read the lore on the forums, you get to learn a little bit more about the Truth Seekers. They don't know each other's identities, and they certainly don't know the identity of the Game Master, so their masks are a representation of that anonymity. They're trying to peek behind the masks by meeting up at Milhaven Asylum. What will they find when the masks come off? And this last section here is just a bunch of questions that didn't fit into other categories. Like, what type of blood does a terror drink? In Deceit 1, the infected players drink all types of blood, but in Deceit 2, the infected players offer their own blood to bring the in-between into our reality and execute the Game Master's deadly game. And this is a picture for early design concepts of the Blood Altar. I think it looks very cool. You can see the Game Master's face that's getting filled up with blood, and you see a bunch of different seemingly humans under, propping it up. This next part here about Jak and Alex, they don't know each other, just like all of the rest of the Truth Seekers, and they have taken feedback to make them more dissimilar. So he's now more tanned, clean-shaven, and blonder than Alex. So here's a new Jak next to Alex. They don't look so alike anymore, so you don't have to worry about that when you're calling people out in Deceit 2. How old are Deceit characters? They know Nina is a student, so she's in her early 20s. Hans is spry for his age. Generally, our poor victims of the Game Master's plans are in their late 20s to late 30s. And that's pretty much it for this Q&A blog. I did leave out some questions that they answered, as I felt they weren't really too important. I will leave a link somewhere where you can go look at this blog yourself, as well as some of the other blogs that they've done. I plan on continuing to cover each blog that comes out up until Deceit 2's release, as well as any other information that we might get. So if you're interested in keeping up to date with that, I recommend subscribing. And thank you so much for watching.